Okay, let's dive right in. On April 1st, 2026, South Africa is set to face a truly historic fuel price hike. Now, this is a pretty complicated story, with triggers happening all over the world and right here at home. So in this explainer, we're going to break down exactly what's going on and, more importantly, why. First, just look at the numbers. This is the projected increase for just 1 liter of 95-octane petrol. We're talking more than 5 rand. For an average person, that could easily be hundreds of extra rand every single time you fill up your tank. This jump, for a single month, is bigger than anything we have ever seen.
And then there's diesel. You know, the fuel that basically runs our entire economy. Well, it's getting hit even harder. The potential increase here is nearly 9 rand per liter. This isn't just a price hike, folks. It's a shockwave that's about to ripple through every single part of our supply chain, from the farms that grow our food to the shelves in our grocery stores.
And let's be absolutely clear about this. This increase is set to more than double any previous record, even the ones we saw during other major global crises. So no, this is not just another monthly adjustment at the pump. This is an economic event unlike any other.
So, how on earth did a conflict happening thousands of kilometers away from our shores manage to spark such a massive crisis right here at home? Well, let's unpack it.
It all starts with a single geopolitical flashpoint, one that sent the entire global energy market into an absolute tailspin.
This timeline just shows you how incredibly fast everything changed. You know, at the beginning of the year, oil prices were pretty stable, humming along. But then, after the US/Israel offensive kicked off on February 28th, the price of Brent crude oil just skyrocketed. It jumped over 40% in only a couple of weeks. And the reason for that unbelievable surge? It comes down to this one specific location, the Strait of Hormuz. You have to understand, this is one of the most critical energy choke points on the entire planet. When this narrow channel is threatened, believe me, the whole world feels the heat.
And this chart really puts it into perspective. A full 20%, a fifth of the world's daily oil supply passes through that one single strait. The conflict has essentially put a stranglehold on a vital artery of the global economy, and that's causing a massive supply disruption.
But here's the thing. A global crisis is only part of the story. For South Africa, a unique combination of local factors has magnified the impact, turning what was already a bad situation into a potential catastrophe. It's what you'd call a perfect storm, and it's all hitting on one day, April 1st. First up, you've got that massive global price surge we just talked about. Second, on top of that, you have our own pre-planned annual tax hikes that just compound the problem. And third, as if that wasn't nearly enough, Eskom's 8.76% electricity tariff hike kicks in on the very same day, driving up costs for absolutely everyone.
And this just shows you the pain that was already baked into the system. See, even before the global price went crazy, we were all set to see an increase of about 21 cents per liter. That's thanks to the annual adjustments to the general fuel levy, the road accident fund levy, and the carbon tax.
But there's a deeper and, honestly, a much more troubling reason for why we are so extremely vulnerable right now. It's a story that explains why South Africa has absolutely no safety net to absorb this kind of global shock. It goes back about a decade to a corrupt deal that's become known as SFF oilgate. That deal led to the sale of almost all of the country's strategic fuel reserves. And today, we are feeling the full, devastating consequences of that decision.
So here's what happened. Between 2015 and 2016, nearly all of our emergency oil, 10 million barrels, was sold off. And it was sold at a rock-bottom price of just $29 a barrel, right when the market was at an 11-year low. Now, the High Court did eventually declare that sale unlawful and corrupt, but there was a huge catch. The state was ordered to refund the buyers. And by then, it just didn't have the money to buy back all that oil at much, much higher modern prices.
And this is the result. The international standard, which is recommended by the International Energy Agency, is that a country should have 90 days of fuel reserves for emergencies. 90 days. South Africa? We have enough for maybe 12 to 17 days. We have virtually no buffer, no cushion at all.
And to make a bad situation even worse, with several of our local refineries having shut down, we now import nearly 2/3 of all our fuel. This incredible dependency on imports, combined with basically empty emergency tanks, has left the country completely and utterly exposed.
So what does this all actually mean for the economy, for businesses, and for your daily life? Let's take a look at the real-world consequences of all this.
Well, the official word from the government is pretty blunt. Minister Gwedamantashe has already stated that while they're working hard to secure supply, these massive price hikes are now, in his words, increasingly unavoidable. There is no last-minute rescue plan coming.
And the impact goes way, way beyond the petrol station. Taxi fares are going to rise significantly. Food prices will absolutely follow because farming and transport costs are about to explode. For some commuters, transport could soon eat up more than half of their entire monthly income. E-hailing drivers are even warning they might be forced off the roads completely because they just can't afford to operate.
So here it is, the bottom line. This table shows you the real tangible impact. A liter of 95 petrol is projected to jump from just over 20 Rand to almost 26 Rand. And the wholesale price of diesel? That could get close to 27.5 Rand. These are the numbers that are going to define the cost of living for all of us in the months ahead.
Which really leaves us with one final and pretty sobering question. This crisis has exposed a deep structural weakness in our country's energy security. It really makes you wonder, if we were this unprepared for this global shock, what on earth is going to happen when the next one arrives?